Have you been hitting the gym consistently, but you're getting frustrated that your physique doesn't seem to be changing? If so, in this video, I'm going to break down why that is and exactly what you need to do with your training, nutrition, and recovery to start making progress faster and achieve the results you're looking for.
So what I found for most men is that their training lacks 3 essential elements that's preventing them from making progress and truly transforming their physique. So the first essential element that most men are missing in their training is training with enough intensity. So I've been a full-time coach for 3 years now, and I've watched thousands of hours of training footage from my clients. And very rarely does somebody join our program and actually push themselves close enough to failure to actually build muscle. The problem with this is that muscle growth in its most simplest form essentially just comes down to stressing the muscle enough and pushing the muscle far enough to force an adaptation and force it to grow back bigger and stronger. But if you aren't stressing the muscle enough and you aren't damaging the muscle during your training, you're never going to force the muscle to build back bigger and stronger. So you have to be pushing yourself very close to failure in your workouts in order to demand that type of growth and that type of response from the muscle. Now, the second major issue that most men have with their training is that their training simply lacks structure and planning. Most guys just show up to the gym, they pick what muscle group they're gonna do when they get there, what exercises they're gonna do, or maybe they have a set split, but they're not doing set exercises, they're not doing a specific rep range and a total number of sets. And so there's no predictable way to progressively overload when you do this. And that's really the biggest problem with this. You can train hard and get good results for a while without any structure, but at some point your training has to have a clear structure and a clear progression so you can continue to progressively overload the muscle, not only with the intensity of your training, but also the structure of your training to ensure that you're giving the muscle more stimulus over time. So if you're one of these guys and your training has been lacking structure, we have 9 different hypertrophy training programs in our community that are going to give you the structure you need to continue to progressively overload the muscle and build muscle faster. So right now the community is completely free and we have 14 spots remaining until the community goes up to $1 per day or $29 a month. So be sure to take advantage of that, secure one of those last 14 spots, and I'll see you on the inside. Now, the third major issue that most men have with their training is that their training lacks quality technique. Proper training technique isn't just to minimize injury, it's actually also to maximize your progress with the muscle groups that you're trying to work. And right now I'm actually here training with a Timeless Aesthetics alumni and good friend of mine, Khalil, who had a real stubborn muscle group that we essentially blew up through his training technique. So Khalil, how important is training technique when you have lagging muscle groups or you're just trying to build in general?
Absolutely essential. I mean, just coming from the fundamentals of proper range of motion, time under tension, actually having a proper eccentric phase as well as the concentric, explosive, positive, I mean, made all the difference.
What a workout, what a workout. And so look guys, I know when it comes to training technique, you might be thinking, well, oh, I'm gonna have to drop the weight that I'm using. And it's true. In order to improve your technique and get that tempo that Khalil was talking about, you do in fact have to drop the load a little bit. But you need to ask yourself, what's more important? Your ego when you're lifting heavy or the progress you're trying to make? Now, when it comes to nutrition, there's 2 major mistakes that I see most men make. The first one is that they simply aren't eating enough protein. Now, the problem with this is that when you don't eat enough protein, you're not going to fully recover from your training. So it really doesn't matter how perfect your training is or how intense it is or what your training program is like. If you aren't eating enough protein, you're not going to be able to rebuild those damaged muscle fibers. Because when you're in the gym, that's what you're doing. You're damaging the muscle fibers, and then when you consume your protein outside of the gym and you go through recovery, which we're going to talk about here shortly, you're able to actually build those muscle fibers back and build them back bigger and stronger. So without an adequate amount of protein, you're never going to fully recover from your training. So a very easy rule of thumb to follow when it comes to protein is to just simply eat 1 gram of protein per your ideal body weight. Now, the second major issue that you're likely making with your nutrition is that you aren't fueling your body with the proper amount of calories. So if you're on the smaller side and you've been struggling to get bigger and add size, you're likely not eating enough calories. And if you're on the bigger side and your physique kind of has a soft, mushy look, you're likely eating too many calories. So if you fall into the first category of the man who's struggling to put on size, what you want to do is eat in a 300 calorie surplus. So what this means is eating 300 calories more than you burn throughout the day. This level of a surplus is going to help you train more efficiently in the gym and train harder in the gym. It's going to help you recover better from your workouts, and it's going to give you enough fuel to put on size without getting fat in the process. Because a lot of guys in your situation will try to bulk up and they'll just eat as much as they possibly can. And sure, they do put on weight and they do put on size, but they also get really fat in the process. And then when they go to cut down, they lose a lot of the weight and a lot of the muscle that they put on because they have to do a dramatic cut. So keep the surplus about 300 calories and you're going to be able to maximize your muscle building progress without getting fat in the process. And if you fall into the second category of a guy who's struggling to get that chiseled, defined look and drop the extra body fat, you need to be eating in about a 500 calorie deficit for about 12 to 16 weeks to drop the body fat and have the muscle show more definition and finally start to look like you really work out. Now, a 500 calorie deficit simply means you're burning 500 calories more than you consume throughout the day. When you're in this level of a deficit, on average, you're going to lose 1 pound of body fat per week, which is going to help you lose the body fat and get that chiseled physique without really losing your muscle tissue during the process. Now, if you're unsure of how to calculate that calorie deficit for yourself or how to get into the proper calorie surplus, in our community, we have an entire fat loss course and a muscle building course that's going to take you step by step through the process that you need to calculate exactly how many calories and macronutrients you need to be eating for your goals. So I'm here at a fitness coach's retreat right now. My good friend, one of my best friends, Zach Colburn, teaches personal trainers how to take their business online and help their clients get results online. So he has 50 online fitness coaches here in town for the weekend, and I'm here to learn, share some of the experience and wisdom that I have along the way as well. It's gonna be a really good day. But before we get into this day, we need to talk about the recovery side of things. And mainly it comes down to 2 important factors with recovery that you can do to make progress faster and actually transform your physique. So first and foremost, you've probably heard this a million times, what you need to do is prioritize the quality of your sleep. Now, I would love to say the quantity of your sleep, but the reality is for a lot of you guys, you're not going to be able to increase the quantity of your sleep simply because of your schedule. So we need to focus on improving the quality of your sleep. And in order to do this, there's a few different things that you can do. The first thing you can do to improve your quality of sleep is to limit your afternoon caffeine. So a good rule of thumb is to not consume caffeine after 2 to 3 p.m. in the afternoon. What I found for me personally is when I have caffeine after that time period, I'm still able to fall asleep at the end of the day most of the time, but I'm not able to stay asleep and I don't get good quality sleep. And when I wake up, I feel like shit. So be sure you're limiting or completely eliminating your afternoon caffeine. Now, the second thing you can focus on to improve your recovery is stress management. When the stress hormone cortisol is chronically elevated, it's going to negatively impact your digestion, it's going to negatively impact your insulin sensitivity, and it's also going to leave your body in a catabolic state, so it's going to be harder for you to build muscle tissue. So to manage your stress, there's a few easy tools that you can implement. The first thing you can do is go for a walk at the end of the day after dinner. So leave your phone inside, go for a walk, and just focus on being present and enjoying where you are in that moment. You can also do a quick and easy 10-minute mindfulness meditation. I know this may sound woo-woo and funny, but I promise if you do one of these guided meditations that you can find easily on YouTube for 10 minutes, you're going to decrease your cortisol and it's going to help you rest and recover better, build muscle faster, and transform your physique. So that's gonna wrap this video up. I hope you found it helpful. If you did, be sure to give it a like and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any future content. And if you're interested in one-on-one coaching and getting guaranteed results, then you can click the link down below in the description and inquire about the Timeless Aesthetics 101 coaching program. What we'll do is we'll hop on a 30-minute consultation call. We'll figure out where you're at, what your goals are, and ultimately what we need to do to get you there. Once we have all that figured out, we'll talk about the different coaching packages. If it feels aligned, we'll get started working together. So if that's something you're interested in, click that link down below, and I look forward to speaking with you. And to everyone else, until the next video, keep pushing, keep persevering, and keep it positive.